Hello. Hello. Hi, everybody. My name's Evan. You're stuck with me as your morning host, so I'm going to keep us moving. And I'm going to kick us off by starting about a topic about safe sex. So spontaneous sexual encounters can be both gratifying and exciting. Oh, sorry. That doesn't seem right. Oh, sorry. Wrong set of notes. Wrong set of notes. That's not what we're doing. That was funny. Come on, that was a little bit. I was expecting a better laugh than that. We're gonna do something else. We're gonna kick off with our first panel this morning. So it's a topic everybody is curious about and interested in, and it's a tough one. It's sales. So to Scott's nod, it's been kind of a tough year, tough 18 months. So we're gonna invite up a panel chaired by some guy named Darin Lynch. Never heard of him. Founder of something called Irish Titan. Sounds fake. We're going to have an awesome lineup talking about inbound, outbound sales strategies, and then I'm particularly interested in the team and tools topic. So we're going to talk about how they structure teams, what tools they're using for their outbound sales engine. So please welcome to the stage our first panel of the day. We've got Anastasia from Ecom department, Greg from Be a Part of, Damiano from Startup Slang, and Chris Pointer from Pointer Creative. Oops, I'm blasting through with my big nubby hands. They're pretty average size hands, actually. Okay, Darin, come on up. Welcome to the panel.
Give Darin the remote.
You want me on that side?
Are we sitting or?
No.
Standing.
Just had to pull the chairs forward.
Okay. I am number 5. That makes me last.
Do what?
Oh, got it.
Sure. All right. Good morning, everyone, or as Big Kev and I would say, as true Irishmen, Slancha. Welcome to my event. Rachel's event. Where is Rachel? There she is. All right. So before we get started, I do want to do a quick little sidebar. I think there's someone that deserves a round of applause from all of us, and that's Rachel. So let's give her a round of applause. She and I give each other a lot of shit. She deserves it. I don't. But I think that we can all agree in this room that all of our businesses, every business in this room, is better for the work that Rachel does with us and for us. So thank you, Rachel, for all that. So with that, we're going to go wheels up, kings and queens. Some of you know I love mixing in Gen Z lingo, so that's one of my favorites. So we're going to talk about sales. More specifically, we're going to talk about pipeline and some of the strategies we've used to build deal flow. We've carved our conversation into 3 pipeline funnels: inbound, outbound, and channel. We'll mix team and tools in there too. So with that, we're going to get started, but let's begin with introductions from our esteemed panel. Go ahead, Greg.
I started Be a Part of in 2004, and basically was an Interspire, for those who know what BigCommerce was before they were BigCommerce, was Interspire in an open source shop, and then basically became a BigCommerce partner as soon as they converted to BigCommerce. Incubated an app within BigCommerce Focus, which was Mini BC, recurring billing and vaulting. That was in 2014. And then just got acquired a year ago. And everything in between was, fun.
Cool. Hey, thanks. Hey, everyone. My name is Damiano. I'm the founder and CEO of Startup Slang. Startup Slang is an agency that I started here in Toronto back in 2019. Today, we're in Toronto and Montreal. We were recently acquired by Metaverse Group. So we focus on creating innovative e-commerce experiences. So we're doing a lot of Metaverse deployments, Web3 stuff, that kind of stuff.
Good morning, everyone. I think it's still morning. I might be confusing my time zone. Morning. My name is Anna, and I'm the head of partnerships and business development at Ecom department, where I've been for the last 5 years. And previously to that, I ran my own agency for 10 years, and I'm so excited to share some of my experience with you guys today.
Hey guys, I'm Chris Pointer. I have an agency in Ottawa, Canada, Pointer Creative. We've been a Shopify partner for about 12 years. And really excited to be up here with all you guys.
I'm Darin Lynch, founder and CEO of Irish Titan. I started the company back in 2004. We build and grow e-commerce channels. That means we build the sites and then work with our merchants on an ongoing basis with their marketing strategies. We're closed only 2 days a year, St. Patrick's Day and the day after. And I'm happy to be on stage with this panel. So we have the next 90 minutes to go into exhausting detail. No, we don't. Oh, we don't? We don't have 90 minutes, Darin. That was the first off-stage banter. I like it. So we have 30 minutes. So we're going to try to fly through this, but get into the value here so everybody can walk away, hopefully, with some good thoughts, et cetera. So we're going to start by talking about inbound. And Anna, we're going to start with you. So you've done a good job leveraging things like reputation-based marketing in your background, ecosystems, relationships, account-based marketing. So why don't you enlighten us how you've put those to use to build your pipeline?
Sure, that's a lot of different topics, so I hope I'll be able to cover them all. So as I said, I have about 15 years experience in the agency space, and there's a couple things that I've learned that have really kind of stuck with me, but I will say that I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all approach to agencies. I've met many of you in this space, and I know that we all have different things that we really specialize in. For instance, we basically don't do any outbound currently, but we still have really great deal flow. So as I was thinking about this last night, and all these thoughts were kind of swirling around in my head, I really came up with a couple words that really stuck with me, and weirdly enough, they're all R words, so hope you guys can follow along with this. But the key takeaway that I've learned in now doing BD and sales for the amount of time I've done it is we're in a heavily relationship-based business, and it really comes down to what your reputation looks like. And in terms of reputation, I think a lot of that has to do with how reliable you are at actually performing the services that your agency has set out to do. And if you are reliable and you have a fantastic reputation, you're building those relationships, the thing that will follow is referrals. And that's something that I learned very, very early in my career and has really helped me grow my first agency, and it's something that we really lean into really heavily at Ecom department. A few other things that I've done both previously and today is we became very opinionated, so we identified our tech stack pretty early. I know there's probably some controversy around that topic, but it's worked really, really well for us. We also really identified our niche in the e-com space. For instance, we primarily specialize in women's apparel, and because we are opinionated with our tech stack and we've identified our niche, we're able to go really, really deep into the industry, and that's really helped with building our reputation in the space and really growing that referral network, because everybody tends to know each other within both that tech ecosystem and between that niche in women's apparel. In terms of expansion, I think that was one of my last topics. We've done kind of multiple things, which is instead of just focusing on development or design, we're really end-to-end. We're very full service. So not only are we able to sell through our referrals pretty heavily, we're also able to sign our clients on for multiple services. And our clients seem to really, really enjoy that. They like having one team to talk to. They like that the team all talks to each other. They like having one bill to pay and one contract versus many. So we really are very mindful at organically also growing how our clients expand within our teams at Ecom department. And lastly, and I cannot say this enough, but word of mouth from clients and the partner network is just so important to us. We really rely on that in order to grow the business.
So reputation and taking good care of clients is going to create referrals and good word of mouth. I think, Greg, you have a unique experience, I'm sure, with that as well. But part of what we talked about in our riff session a couple weeks ago was how you went really deep with a specific partner and built pipeline through inbound from them. And when we're saying inbound versus outbound versus channel, inbound is when things are coming into us, right? And I think everybody understands that, but over the course of our conversation, it's emerged that those are the 3 different funnels that we were all talking about. So you accomplished that through, one of the ways was through the deep partner relationship, but then also you built an app to help augment lead flow and inbound lead flow. So share some of those experiences.
Yeah, so MiniBC was essentially, it started as a app that, a suite of apps for BigCommerce. So it was all purpose-built apps that were specifically geared towards whatever BigCommerce's, sort of gaps were. And in doing so, we really ended up with a recurring billing and vaulting application that, sort of took lead, and that's the one we wrapped our arms around most. But we were solving very complicated payment issues. So again, with sort of the niche of going deep into one area, we ended up getting a lot of sort of situations where we're solving something that BigCommerce wasn't able to solve, and so we're helping close deals. And so it was very, handy to have sales folk at BigCommerce handing us deals to help close them together. Which really created a good solid pipeline of deals that were very specific to what we were able to do, whether it be like passing tokens to an ERP because we had it, or very specific back order needs, or things like that. So it really helped to drive sales and grow the company.
So one of the things that we've done at Irish Titan to help create some inbound from existing clients, besides what we all aim for, taking good care of them, et cetera, is we all get asked for references over and over. And so we generally probably all create sort of a pool of references we turn to frequently. We put some more structure around that where on a quarterly basis, they are invited into some discussions that we have internally to help shape and get feedback about where we think things are going. We give them a little bit of a bonus for that. Sometimes it's a bottle of whiskey, sometimes it's a gift certificate to this, that, or the other. And that has created, using some things we see in books and TED Talks, et cetera, like raving fans, where those merchants that are invited into that sort of deeper relationship end up referring a lot of their peers to us. So that's one of the things that we've done that I think was sort of unique and driven by my frustration with having to constantly re-engineer the wheel with references. Chris, let's move over to you because you're a bit of a bridge between inbound and outbound. You built a really strong inbound pipeline based on some proximity-based partnerships, proximity-based partnership, I should say. And then this little thing called COVID came along and blew that up. And so you've moved from inbound to adding some elements of outbound. So share some more on that.
Sure. So originally, like all of our deal flow came through Shopify. We were very fortunate to build great relationships because it's an Ottawa-based company, or was, and that fueled our shop for the better part of a decade. But as COVID came and as the Shopify got distributed, we had to look for new options. So leaning into, agency partnerships with other agencies like yourselves. Platform partnerships with app partners. These are all options that we looked really hard at because it's the kind of work that people know you for. You basically put that out, and more work like that will come in. We also built a bit of a fun site called Commerce Cream, which was used as a curation of the best Shopify sites. And as we were known for hosting that and promoting it, it led more shops to reach out to us to refer work, brands to come to us from that. So it's not always a traditional deal flow. Sometimes it's a bit more organic. And we also got into building Shopify themes. So product was interesting because it also provided inbound through a non-traditional sense where actual merchants or actual
individual brands were reaching out to us to customize themes. So it took us from, really bespoke, lead-driven, or I should say relationship-driven opportunities to more organic, unique things. But it sort of has worked out really well and has kept things pretty, consistent. But certainly, like, leaning on the relationships of one specific partner, not necessarily the best move for those instances like global pandemics.
Right, that changes some things along with when you can't meet somebody for coffee and build relationships that way, right?
100%.
I can't count how many times I've said to anybody in this room today or last night or the night before when things kind of started rolling that, it's nice to finally meet in person, because a lot of us had a lot of conversations over the last couple of years. I think it's hard to build relationships via that sort of interaction. Again, kudos to Rachel for the community she's built. And I think that when you can meet people in person, that makes things a lot easier. And when that goes away, it's a lot harder.
Yeah.
Damiano, my man. So there's literally nobody I know who I think is more of an outbound expert than you. You're a bit of a Jedi around that topic. So let's hear from you some of that wisdom.
Thanks for setting up the expectation.
Right, it's high. You have a high bar.
So here at Startup Slang, when we started off back in 2017, I started off as a freelancer on Fiverr. So basically just building Shopify and BigCommerce stores. Very quickly, I became the number one Shopify seller on Fiverr. So that was really good inbound leads that were coming our way for the first couple of years of our agency. But very quickly, we realized that we needed to basically figure out a system to get bigger clients, because as you know, freelancing marketplaces don't have the best sort of brands that go there most of the time. And so one of the things we started looking at was where our biggest clients were coming from. And we realized, just like the rest of the panel said here, that all of our biggest clients were coming from relationships that we had built. Tom, who's in the back of the room over there, him and I would go around to events here around Toronto, a little bit everywhere, and just connect with brands as much as we could. And so it became really important for us to start building a community around our agency. And so the way we did that was basically by taking our funnel and really looking at the 4 stages of the funnel, right? Awareness, interest, decision, and action. And basically creating ways for people in our community of brands to really go through that funnel and get acquainted with us and basically build a relationship. And we were totally aware of the fact that in some cases, these relationships could take a year to actually build. But if there's a $500,000 or $1 million project at the end of that, I'm willing to do the work for a year. And so basically, we started doing these dinners that we hold, these VIP dinners. We now have over 150 brands that are signed up to our dinners that we hold every single month here in Toronto and in Montreal. And we realized that we might connect with these people over LinkedIn. That's the awareness stage. We might have a conversation going with them for a very long time on LinkedIn without ever pitching them, which brings them into the interest stage. We might invite them to our podcast or our dinner several times, which brings them into the decision stage. And then from there, we build a relationship until they move over to action to actually purchase with us. And we realized that if we did this with enough large merchants, this would work really well. Obviously, it wasn't something that was super scalable. And so coupled with that, we also created a system for sales reps a little bit all over the world to work on a commission for Startup Slang. We created this entire manual where they can get trained within just 48 hours. And then after 48 hours, they can go out there and basically use our system and host their own dinners, do whatever they wanted to basically get merchants into our pipeline and get them to purchase from us. At the highest point, we had certain reps that were making 20 grand a month just off of the commissions and all that stuff that was coming through. Now that we were recently acquired by Metaverse Group, we're focusing a lot on innovation and Metaverse deployments. And so the offer that we have is pretty unique in the market. So that coupled with the system that we already have, we do have a good number of brands right now that are coming to us and that are really, really interested in our system. And so for us, outbound is all about consistency, just constantly having touch points with the community, building that community. And I think, seeing this room, it's pretty obvious that strategy works. So thank you, Rachel, for showing us that. And basically just having the pipeline be continuously worked on. So here at Startup Slang and Metaverse Group now, we actually have people that basically do this a day in and day out. So we're constantly building relationships with people that work at these brands that we really want to work with. And even if it takes a year or a year and a half, we prioritize the relationship with the actual people and with the actual brand over the actual work. And that somehow leads us to actually working with them.
Before we move on, Rachel. Before we move on to the last topic, I think one of the things that over the last few years as we started to invest in our own outbound, one of the points of view I developed is I think marketing and sales get confused and blended a lot. And I think a simple definition that I like is marketing creates demand and sales converts it. And I think outbound sort of lives at that intersection because outbound, whether it's cold calling or LinkedIn campaigns or post-event emails, all of those sorts of strategies, I think that what you're doing is you're creating awareness, you're creating demand to make it easier for your salespeople to then either have a lead or build a lead with somebody who's already aware of you. And so for us, our outbound started to work a little better, and it was the last of these three stools that we added. But it started to work a little bit better when we started to merge responsibilities for it between our marketing and sales team, because there's some similarities there with some of the points of view and natural tendencies. Okay, let's move on to the last topic, as we only have a few more minutes. Let's talk about channel. And I know that we all have some opinions and observations and experiences around channel. We have to in this space. But Greg, let's start with you. Channel is its own unicorn, or maybe more like a narwhal or a Bigfoot, rarely seen but truly exists. So it's accounts, it's marketing, it's sales, all mixed together. You have a long history of deep channel relationships. How have you built that? How have you managed that? How do you leverage that?
Yeah, so I mean, it probably sounds obvious, but just being everywhere that channel is. So if they have events, if they have lunch and learns, if they have anything, just be there for all of it and support them as best you can. We really focused on one channel basically, Ecommerce for a very long time, and so it just made sure we were always there. We were top of mind. Our name was recognized when it was brought up internally, and so it really helped us to to be deep into that partnership because we just always were there. And certainly, as a digital marketer, we were a certified partner with them, and I am borrowing it from them. But it was their advice that was basically just if you want to partner with anyone, just show up and be available at all times.
Anna, you have interesting experience in channel. First as a founder of your own company, and then as a leader within a larger organization. So there's sort of two different channel strategies there. There are different resources you can bring to bear in those two different settings. Share a little bit about how what you experienced.
So I think out of everything that I do, channel partnerships are probably my most favorite. And I see quite a few of our partner managers in the room today, so glad you guys are here. We utilize a couple different strategies. First of all, I think it's very important to just generally be strategic about channel, because I see sometimes that people will just cast a very wide net. They're like, well, I kind of do this. I kind of work with these people. I kind of work with these platforms, and they kind of just go after everything. We once again cast a very deep net, not a very wide net. We kind of know what part of the ecosystem we work within, and we really try to focus on those few channel relationships and really form strong bonds with them. I think that process is a lot easier when you really kind of inventory what it is that you're doing and really form organic connections within channel partnerships. I think that's incredibly helpful, not only to us, but as you said, there's an account management perspective here. And so one of the things I do is I take a lot of time and do a lot of research and put a lot of thought into who we're signing partner agreements with, and really trying to make sure that it's really meaningful, not just from a relationship building standpoint for sales, but also that it's very, very meaningful for our portfolio of clients, and that there's a natural organic need and fit. And then I really focus on drilling down into those relationships and spending as much time with our partners as possible.
I think that one of the things I think about when I channel, I do a lot of things without thinking ahead of time, and then reflect later about either what worked or didn't, and refine it. And I think that one of the themes that emerged for me around channel, that was actually where we started, is be prepared, be proactive, and be professional. I think that it works best in channel relationships if you have your one-sheeter prepared, if you have your documentation prepared, if you have your own 3 uniques for any EOS people in here. I know there are a couple. Every organization should know their 3 uniques. Being prepared with that sort of information and the right kind of marketing and channel and sales assets, case studies, your ideal customer, et cetera. That's being prepared, then being proactive, reaching out to your partners, staying in touch with them, creating some sort of cadence. That's being proactive. And then you want your materials to be at the right sort of level. I think what separates a lot of us in this room from some competitors in the space, at least, is professionalism. There are no barriers to entry. We were talking about this last night at dinner. There are no barriers to entry in our space. All someone needs is a laptop and Wi-Fi. There's free Wi-Fi here. I'm on it right now. I could be sitting outside starting an agency, and I might not be super professional, right? I do take my craft seriously. I'm a guy who just can't afford a haircut, but I do take my craft seriously, so I'm not referring to myself in the first person there. But I think being professional goes a long way in our space too. So that's one of my channel takeaways. So as we're winding down, let's leave the audience with one takeaway, starting at your end, Chris, and then we'll come this way.
I think I'd probably, as a takeaway, I'd say don't discount the relationships you're building today that will, not necessarily yield something tomorrow, but in the long term are definitely valuable and a good place to invest your time.
I would say I work with a lot of founders in general, not just founders of agencies, but kind of across the board. And what I notice a lot is founders tend to be their own worst enemy and get in their own way. So as you're working through strategically kind of how to plan around pipeline, just really focus on building organic relationships and do your best and put yourself out there.
Well, my takeaway will be to just build relationships at scale and make sure that you build a community of potential leads around your brand that you're constantly getting in touch with.
And mine would be pretty tactile. I'd say hire, really good project managers and do better automation to make those project managers great.
I think that for me, think about inbound, outbound, and channel. Depending on what size you are and what size you want to, or that you aspire to be, you might not need to invest much in all 3. I think if you're going to be an agency of size and scale, you need operations in all 3, and then you need to be effective in all 3. But when we started, we really focused on channel and my relationships, not just with platform partners, but with technology partners and sometimes business partners, VCs or private equity groups, et cetera, that their client base, their roster, their stable needs our services. So we started in channel and then expanded from there. And so I think that inbound was second and then outbound. So I think that depending on where you are, because I know we have a variety of agency sizes here, I think you can be intentional and strategic with where you start and how you sequence those. So with that, we will wrap up. Round of applause for the panel. And I'm going to turn it back over to Evan to talk about spontaneous sex and where we can find it today.
I'll let you know.